Monster kill!
Battle begins.
There's going to be the Visage yet again for Entity.
So we'll be offlane Visage. They often pick Visage early because they flex between the mid and the offlane, but with all of Toby's other heroes banned out, they're just like, yeah, great, we'll last pick this Visage. The kind of Death Ball Zoo that comes from like the Visage, plus, you know, you've got a tanky Bristle, like that's something that's pretty hard for the Razor to fight into. It's a lot of physical damage, which is in many ways, I think, what Razor is weakest to, particularly physical damage with BKB Pierce. That's why a lot of teams like the Void against the Razor. It's not just that you can like time walk out of the static link. If anything, I think that's the least exciting part about the matchup. The best part is you've got this BKB piercing Chronosphere, which is what Bane brings to the table. So now you've got grip plus physical damage. Razor's going to play very carefully this game.
Yeah, he's got to tread very carefully. Entity, as you mentioned, they've got this, what feels like probably 2 item timing right on the Bristle, you know, a starter item, and then Ags, and then hopefully Toby has got Wraith Packs, maybe at least the Vlad's up and operational, eventually into the AC, which is going to give you a second timing. I feel like you do really have 2 pretty crazy and early timings for Entity that they're going to look to be able to abuse. The Razor, as you're saying, might struggle a bit here. BKB is going to feel nice, and if you can get maybe on top of Bristle early in the fights, they can look to turn, but Entity has so much burst. I don't know. It's a nice draft by Entity, I will say. I think the Visage does give them the necessary push, the engagements, the scouting that they were kind of lacking in this fight. Draft, pardon.
No, I agree with that. I think if you're Talon, what you're looking to do is have a very strong start. Visage is a hero that can be punished in the laning stage. I think my view on this hero is I think it kind of unrightfully got given this reputation of being this strong laner while over the last like 3 months or so. This hero, it's very hit or miss when it comes to the lanes. You're one base armor, you're very squishy. If anyone gets on top of you, like Visage doesn't like playing in the kill lanes. Visage wants to be the kill lane, but you don't really want to play against these lanes that kill you, and that's exactly what Dazzle Razor will do.
Very true. That's going to be many attempts at his life. There's the D ward. Entity will go right on back, as it's the support Zeus, right? So not the mid lane Zeus, which will go 404. This is support Zeus first point in Lightning Bolt. No big deal. So the only 2 wards that live are actually in the mid lane for now. Yeah, the only issue is actually there's no really great save in this lane either, to be honest. Sometimes if you can play with like a little bit of save or some repositioning into a Visage lane, that can always backfire. Toby, right, taking this first point in Soul Assumption. Yeah, you know, he does. You're right, he doesn't want to play into these kill lanes, but again, much like a Viper, if you come at Visage, you best not miss. Otherwise he fires back with Soul Assumption.
Yeah, the Zeus is not like the ideal lane partner for Visage, but it does give you a lot of... This is like the glass cannon lane. Zeus plus Visage. Like, they dish out a shit ton of damage, but they will also melt incredibly fast.
Yeah, for sure. So maybe him, Skywrath Mage also up there, his winged friends. Yeah, for sure.
There's a lane. Just get those 2 heroes in a trial lane. Let's see what happens.
It's either it's 50-50 chance, guys. Either it wins or it doesn't.
Yeah. So we'll see how 23 Savage does up here. He's going for an early Quelling Blade, which is a little bit unusual, I feel like, but Magic Wand makes a lot of sense. We'll see how he fares.
Yep. Double ranged matchup here into the Razor, which is, yes, going to easily incentivize the Plasma Field early. Katomi hit by that first poison attack, but with Toby nearby, it's going to stop Hyde from getting too many stacks on that thing. Very easy to underestimate that.
You gotta be careful. Like, you don't want to poke Toby and let him just keep throwing these Soul Assumptions. You really want to, like, dish out a lot of damage on him at once. They kind of messed up the start of the lane with they missed the range creep with Plasma Field. Didn't get the range. I mean, you can't get the range now against Zeus, but it just felt like they weren't quite synergizing their harass together a bit. But definitely a lane that they can still win on the Talons.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And again, like you're saying, you got to be careful because normally this Visage nuke is incredibly costly to cast. 125 mana is no joke, and there's even the second point now actually in Gravekeeper's Cloak, so a little bit of more survivability. But with the Ring of Bazzi that Katomi's carrying, he's going to have plenty of mana in this lane to spam out a couple of nukes. So something to be careful for certain for Talon. As bottom, you know, KP already going to work with the Crypt Swarm, eventually with Spirit Siphon. He's going to be able to tank pretty nicely into this this lane. Q as well with a lot of kill potential onto Fishman especially.
I was going to say, oh, well, there's some harass going down here. I just watched like 3 range creeps in a row to get denied up top, but this has been brutal for Talon up top.
There's the points in Link now. At least that'll force Toby a bit out of lane. Toby, of course, just responds with a quick soul assumptions. Link level 1, not really much to write home about. You're going to need a pretty mean poison touch active to get that kill. Q does get slept bottom, but at least he didn't use the tag team quite yet. So he doesn't waste that at the very least. The Fisherman able to at least complete the pull here. He does block the hard camp as well, so wants to really make sure that this Bristle doesn't have to farm too far away from tower in case they Talon decide to make a go at him.
Yeah, and just getting the pull in itself is a big win for Fishman. He may go down here, which is definitely not what he wants, but without Spirit Siphon, yeah, there's no real kill threat here, and Fishman seems to know it because he's playing 1 versus 2, zoning them while Pure farms on this Bristle. Really nicely done.
Yep, now he's got those level 2 quill sprays. You know, Bristle, of course, like many heroes, weakest at their early, but very relevant for these kind of lane dominators that end up bullying some enemy offlaners, as we might end up seeing here to KP. 11 wand charges though, and eventually the second point in Spirit Siphon is going to give KP a little bit more room to maneuver though, and he'll be easily getting that underneath tower here. Nice job by Q, giving him some solo XP.
Yeah, this lane definitely should pick up a bit for him, but they're looking to really get up close and personal. Getting some extra damage in under the tower, forcing KP just to use that Spirit Siphon charge kind of defensively.
Pure even CSing pretty far. It takes a tower shot there, and yeah, just hard to... Oh wow, they're going to make KP actually farm under tower. Not something the DP is going to really love doing. A Stormstormer does definitely avoid an 8th Remnant. Might not have been the death of him, but certainly does at least extend his life now in the mid lane.
Yeah, that was nice from Pure. He wanted to buy his Ring of Health anyway, so just dragging the wave as he did so was a little bit of play there.
Stormstormer. Oh, nice job. He just gets off the Waning Rift. They had the 8th Remnant set up in time for him, but he wasn't going to wait long there inside the phase shift.
This is, I think, classic Puck versus Void Spirit mid matchup. Often we talk about these mid matchups and the 6-minute rotations, but I feel like with some of these Puck and Spirit matchups, the rotations come earlier. It's 4 minutes. They want to deny water runes. They're not just worried about power runes. It's every small little advantage that you can give your mid laner in these like kill versus kill mid matchups makes such a big difference.
Yeah, very true. Especially when it comes to like skill points, getting that experience up, right? Makoto looking to try and farm as much as he can with Resonant Pulse, right? Versus a Puck, you do want to go for the 8th Remnant, so that does remove a little bit of farming, a bit of your farming tools anyway, I should say, compared to like going for Dissemblate. So yeah, it does make a big deal. That was Stormstormer who goes into Dire Jungle for the bounty rune. The Dazzle just a bit too slow on the rotation, but he's needed top. Because this lane, again, like we kind of started talking off with, isn't super easy.
No, and you can see the Visage CS. This is where I've always felt like Visage is a weak laner. They go on Kanaumi here, but Heavenly Jump, he keeps the link on him. He needs that last right click, which he can't quite get.
Plenty of damage stolen here. 23 Savage, tanky enough with the Infused Raindrops just being delivered. That's going to do nicely here against all the nukes they have for him.
Got the pulled Sal, but he's not going to get only gets the half regen from that one, so Razor's still a little bit low in this lane. Does have raindrop, so should be okay here.
Oh. Just a cheeky move there onto Toby. Sapping a lot of the attack speed, a lot of move speed there. Is going to put an end to that one, though. Hyde basically full mana, though, so, you know, might as well just continue to throw a bit of harass as 23 Savage continues to secure CS. And it'll be the early Falcon Blade for him, so definitely expecting to skirmish a bit earlier than he might otherwise be comfortable with. 3 heroes mid, though, for Entity as they look to contest the first power rune.
Yep, good old 6-minute runes. They want to make sure Stormstormer gets his, and the Talon supports, you know, Hyde wanting to stick around at this top lane, really keep Toby down and away from XP. I mean, Toby's losing this lane, like he's 1 versus 2. Even in the 2 versus 2, the lane wasn't going great, but he just needs to get his level 6. If they can slow down his level 6, that's his catch-up mechanic. That's when he gets to just free farm the jungle, maybe even start pressuring the lane and going for kills.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of going for kills, ooh, the ice shards there on the Pier, just swinging wide. Pier maybe thinking about turning, has the Warpath stacks up, but will not go underneath the 2-1 tower.
And like, I mean, both mid and bottom lane, everyone getting theirs as far as farm goes. It's just going to come down to whether or not NT can make some of these good early moves with the puck. He's rotated top with the Arcane Rune, but I don't know if it was a Dire Ward, but they seem to know this 23 Savage is positioned well.
I think it was going to be this Dire Ward that they have kind of near the enemy triangle. Still, though, they're going to make the jump all the same onto Hyde, who does utilize the shallow grave, but will still end up dropping 7 minutes for first blood. It's 23 Savage. No way you get off a link that long onto the puck. Especially with Arcane Rune, she is out of there before Q can really do much. Well, Katomi, remember?
Snowball in, though.
They did, and Puck's going to cancel the TP. They look to potentially turn. Katomi's dead. Toby's coming, though. That's a big old nuke courtesy of the Soul Assumption, and even Roche coming out to play here, as they will get enough damage in to kill 23 Savage. Mid lane, it's Makoto who dives versus Fishman. Scouts him alone underneath the tower, but Fishman gets off the Brain Sap and the Nightmare to avoid a death here.
And the Razor dying there while using his TP thinking he could escape is just brutal. That's why the power runes are so valuable. They're not done. Stormstormer is still going this mid lane. He's got Coil back up the Arcane Rune.
And Katomi continuing to fight as well. Stormstormer just a little bit low on the mana, though. Would love to continue pumping out spells. Katomi, though, is going to die for a second time around. There's going to be the magic wand, at least allowing him to jaunt over back underneath the tower. But it seems like that'll be the end of that one. More damage being dealt. Power rune secured this time for Makoto. You can tell how much Talon did not want this puck to get 2 power runes in her own, Gods.
Yeah. Damage is kind of being done, though. Like, that just set Stormstormer up for such a good game. Getting the first blood gold up top, rotates back mid, still has mana to get more kills, has another Dream Coil. And all of that gave Toby the space and room to get his level 6, but also get a little bit of farm up top. The Razor dying, doesn't have a TP back to lane. It's kind of like the end of the lane stage, which means, you know, this Visage suddenly actually has like a free lane and a jungle to farm now with his birds.
And speaking of jungle to farm, that's where we see Pure already. They've set him up with a couple of defensive wards here. Doesn't really want to be laning versus the DP, who did use Exo to take the tier 1 tower, so he's really got no place in this lane any longer. Well, he might decide to join a skirmish top lane here eventually. Looks like they might be setting up for something. I really like this D ward. Pretty standard stuff by Entity, but it just enables Stormstormer right now to rotate back into lane a second time. He might have been picked up again on this ward. I'm not quite sure. Either way, it looks like Talon are surprised to see him here, as there's going to be a kill perhaps set up on the queue. There's going to be the self-grave. They're going to put him to sleep, though, to prevent... Oh, well, the snowball actually still goes through. Toby being ran down. In the meantime, Makoto as well joining the fight, picks up the kill. Katomi doing what he can here, but it's set to be run down himself by the hasted Void Spirit. A couple more right clicks, dodges the 8th of Remnant. Stormstormer and Toby now actually coming on over to reinforce. Makoto still might be in a bad spot now, especially with Toby giving vision, using the familiars. Does go right back into the lane. Stormstormer not expecting him there. It was 23 Savage at least picking up a kill onto the Bane in the meantime, but it looks like they're going to end up losing the Void Spirit here. 23 Savage make it 3 kills, picks off the Bane, buys enough time for Makoto to actually Astral Step out, but Stormstormer wants this kill, won't be able to get it because Hyde's back here and has the grave ready. All the while here, Gods, KP is threatening for the mid tower while Fishman TP's on in. Didn't realize how many heroes there were here. That's an easy kill. Down he goes. Toby's back into lane as well, will at least force back the Death Prophet, so at least it's not going to be a tower in favor of Talon, but they look like they still want to fight.
Yeah. He dropped the birds too, could go on those. He's just going to charge at Toby too. The Exorcism's going to heal up KP if he gets low. This is great for Talon.
Well, the birds at least familiars, keeping them at bay for a while. Puck somehow still has mana as well to play with. Coil as well at the ready. Right now, the Bristleback in no position to be ready to join the fights. Wagon still doing damage. Talon fortify here. They really want this tier 1 tower. They need to open up the map so they can look to threaten the casual farm that Bristle's been getting.
Good damage from Talon. Even if they don't get the tier 1 tower here, that was almost a full health tower that they get down to 20% health here. Just off of the Exorcism. It's a lot harder to kill these towers now with level 1 Exorcism, and KP with a great rotation. He'd already taken the bottom tier 1, so comes mid, almost brings down the tower, gets a kill in the Bane, and just guarantees that fight goes well. Makoto's Void Spirit staying alive for all that time too, behind that top tier 1 tower. made such a big difference.
It did, but just buys himself the time to get the spells back off cooldown and continue playing around 1-0-3. You know, this could be yet another series here, gods, where we see a Void Spirit kind of make all the space necessary early game. Not to, of course, discount, as you say, KP, who is making great moves, great rotations on the Death Prophet, now finds himself top lane, perhaps ready to defend against the Tier 1 tower push. But Talon, they've got their sights set elsewhere with a couple of heroes idling mid and currently taking over the jungle that Bristle's farming in.
Love to definitely find a way to finish off this mid-tier 1 tower, but they may have to wait for Exorcism, which I'm not sure how they're going to feel about using Exorcism when the tower's already so low. They'd probably rather try and take a team fight of some kind with it, particularly with how well set up their Void Spirit is. If they can get another, they've got the power rune in the Arcane.
Oh, yeah.
So they're the ones who want to try and take a fight now.
Could be pretty scary here as well. Fishman is about to hit level 6, so he's about to become a pretty major threat, something that's going to have to be dealt with. Of course, they have double save here, right? Snowball save, which does pull you out of the grip, and of course the shallow grave, which isn't going to pull you out of grip, but at least make sure you're not going to die in it. Right now, Makoto just pressuring the tower. Toby, he knows there's somewhere nearby, and in fact, there is. A snowball into the Walrus Punch. Silence onto Toby is good, but Fishman, again, TPing a little bit into trouble. Might turn for the grip, did, and it got canceled immediately there. Makoto then free to run around. He's out of spells, but with the Arcane active, we'll have him back in just a jiffy. As... Oh, sorry, I heard Fiend's grip, but that was just a bugged sound. It got canceled immediately.
Yeah, I heard it too. In the top lane. What's going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Exorcism use they were looking for. They didn't just want the tower. They really wanted to get a good team fight. It's a Visage, it's a core. You know, you're slowing down these timings. We talk about how scary Entity are with a couple of items. And I think for Visage, it's also the levels. That level 2 birds where the damage doubles on your familiars is such a big power spike.
They're trying now. Oh, and with the Zeus ulti, they'll have the vision. The brain sap of Fishman proves to be enough. Q is going to be able to set up, at least for Fishman, on return. So it's something for 23 Savage, but pretty big kill there onto the Void Spirit, who up until now has been able to avoid death. While rushing Ag Scepter, by the way. Fairly impressive. No Sanj, no Kaya, no Witchblade bonus armor. Just pure skill.
Okay. Yeah, I quite like it. I think given how like Group Up and Deathball Entity's draft looks like, the Ag Scepter will, you know, it's good stats, but also just obviously the ability, the silence and the double charge is just going to give you a lot more just ability to run in against this big entity, group up and fight you. So we'll see how he fares with it.
Definitely. I think that's going to be one of the many tools that Talon, you know, they're gearing up for as they do prepare for this timing. They've done well to delay it, but, you know, run from it, hide from it. Eventually, Bristleback will start AoE Viscous Nasal Gooing, and you better be ready. And yeah. Talon certainly are doing their best here, right? BKB soon, ready for 23 Savage, who is doing his best to pig pull his way towards Toby, but is interrupted there by the Familiars. Spirit Vessel finished now for KP, is getting towards that BKB. It's not quite going to be ready in time by Bristle Ags, but at least having the Ogre Axe does tank you up that much more. And of course, this Ag Scepter still a little bit further away, but a kill here onto Pure would certainly speed that up. And now as they've encircled and finished off Pure, that's going to be more gold for Makoto. Nice usage of the DD rune there.
Yeah, they knew Dazzle was there, but I don't think they expected the rotation and the collapse on a Pure. They're now going to make the jump into the jungle. They want more.
They are going to get maybe Fishman out from this, who does at least put himself on the line to ensure that the puck can easily escape at the cost of a Dream Coil. Fishman still pretty speedy, though. Eventually he's going to be caught up to. Not much he could really do about that. Silenced, so there's no Nightmare shenanigans, and he will die behind the enemy Tier 2 tower.
You know, take them on a little safari tour through the Dire base. Like, little trio of Talon heroes just following him and buy some time for other heroes to farm, but it's not really buying time though. Like, Bristle's dead, Puck's getting some farm up top, but all in all, Talon are going to feel like these kills are a nice little confidence booster, given that they've got some strong item timings themselves coming up. The BKB on Razor being the main one, as well as this Aghanim Scepter on Void Spirit.
Absolutely. BKB on Razor, by the way, is done now. It's being fetched to 23 Savage on his Courier as we speak. They might decide to wait for this Ag Scepter on Void Spirit, maybe. They know that Pure's Ag Scepter is going to be up any second, though, so they might kind of feel pressure to just go before the item's ready for Makoto. I mean, he's been doing such a great job so far. It'd be hard to blame him. Top lane, though, is where the TPs are at. Is Q under the coverage of the Fiend's grip. Cannot get the kill. I believe that's thanks to the Nightmare. Q as well, tipping his hat towards Fishman, who ends up saving him. Trying to secure it with the Nightmare damage, but the rotations from Talon are going to stop that from happening.
Well, bad, and if you're Talon, you're voiding the moves that Entity's making. There is still this looming Bristleback threat. Here is just completing his Aghanim Scepter, so things starting to looking like we're going to hit both teams hit their item times at the same time, which means some big fights could be brewing.
Do you hear that, gods? It's the fan. I think we're about to hit it here. And then goes 23 Savage. Nope, Nightmared up before he could BKB. I'm not sure if he wants to use it, though. They do, though. They feel like the timing's right as they got the Vessel debuff onto Bristle. He is falling fast, and down he goes. KP with the kill credit there, utilizing that Exo level 2 for some good damage. Has scared away Toby. Fishman as well on the run. Will turn to Nightmare up and at least stop KP in his charge. That is going to be a big kill onto the Bristleback right as his Zag Scepter was delivered.
Yeah, KP just charging in head first, dishing out all the damage. Vessel plus level 2 Exo and some Spirit Siphons just melting through the Bristle there. We really need an answer for KP, or they just need to disengage from these exorcisms. The problem is the Void Spirit's also just giving them extra lockdown and catch that makes it hard to disengage. And
now he's got the damage, right? Not to mention, of course, the utility that this double silence brings you. So he's going to even do more in these fights. There's going to be a BKB online, maybe even by the next exorcism here, if KP really, puts his nose to the grindstone and just gets farming. For now, though, they seem to be contesting over Roche, where Fishman is in a bit of trouble here. Makoto is going to waste no time showing off his new Acceptor, but did use both Astral Steps to get here. Does put him in a bit of a pickle. No defensive items. Stormer now closing the gap. The Coil's going to catch 2. KP is full health thanks to all of the Spirit Siphons onto Pure, but Pure is not looking too bad himself, and there's the right-click damage from the Ag Scepter. Entity are going to strike back hard as they take down 3 heroes of Talon and go right into the Roche pit.
Yeah, just way too greedy from Talon there. Makoto using all his Astral Steps just to jump into Snap. It's an Arcane Rune. That's a high-value rune. Like, it's not worth dying for. It's worth using your spells for, but between him and KP not having Exorcism, that was just a terrible fight to take, and they're getting picked apart. While Roche is happening, Fishman finds a grip kill on Tusk, so things go from bad to worse for Talon, who up until this point were the ones in control.
Oh, yeah. And again, just, it's this item timing, right? Where I've got my item, I want to use it, I want to stop this Roche from happening, maybe. Perhaps was the mentality, just making sure that, they could not move right into Roche. Unfortunately, just end up using a bit too much of the mobility early, as you say. And now Entity are in their stride, I have to say, right? Pure with BKB might become a little bit of a monster here, but Toby has that first item. It's the full and completed Wraith Pact, Witchblade, Blink Dagger now for Stormer, so he can easily dispatch or at least scare the Dazzle away from these fights and prevent a good Grave from coming. I suppose it's going to need to be some pickoffs, really, that Talon looks to play for in this first Aegis timing.
Yeah, I'm not sure how easily they're going to be able to take any big team fights, particularly if Bristle's in the front lines and shielding off you from running at the rest of his teammates, because it's heroes like the Bane and the Zeus who are just going to sit back, throw spells, and you really need to jump these heroes. I mean, you can't let Bane get a Fiend script, which is where the Axe, I think, comes in handy, because Razor is kind of the primary target, but I think more than anything, Talon can and probably should just try use this time to avoid fights and stall out the Aegis.
Yeah, I'd agree. Again, maybe pickoffs with the name of the game here. Q, though, is going to look for a pickoff on a Fishman, snowballing himself forward. 23 Savage doesn't have any mana for the Link. Has BKB, will use it. Didn't need a Link there for the kill. Gets it off onto Pure. Pure, though, with all the move speed he needs, is able to easily break the Link. So 23 Savage now BKB duration up. Is going to maybe look and turn. A big plasma field connects onto plenty of heroes, but it's Makoto, who has all of his spells, that's in a bit of trouble. Hyde is going to be left behind. He will perish underneath the tier 1 tower, but Toby continuing to have vision on Makoto. There's going to be some nice stuns continuing the CC. Stormstormer was ready for him, but he finds himself now silenced into the 8th of Remnant. It's going to be a quick little link from 23 Savage, but he's going to back himself up now as Pure, diving past tier 1s, past tier 2s, underneath tier 4s with his first Aegis to threaten for a kill onto 23 Savage. My goodness.
Word came out chill, it's only 21 minutes. We still have tier 2, a tier 1 mid tower that still needs to be claimed, but I mean, that's just a fight I don't think Talon should be taking. I mean, perhaps they don't quite realize they're fighting under Radiant Vision. That quick ward in the dire jungle just gives Entity everything they need to know to take that fight. But it's just fighting into an Aegis like this. Bristleback can just run at anyone they want, and Puck's kind of unkillable as well. So very just impossible fight for Talon to even try and be taking.
For sure. And after they fortify for the tier 1 tower, Entity will refocus their efforts onto a tier 2 with the wagon, with, of course, Pure to tank it. That's as good as dead. There it goes. Not probably going to be quite looking to push up high ground, but this does cement their hold right now over this dire jungle. Of course, Talon, they've done the standard move, right? They've swapped jungles at this stage. They've even set up some vision as 23 Savage clears the mid wave. Maybe sensing something coming his way as well. He's going to back up into the hands of his teammates, where Stormstormer continuing to give chase, but without any vision here. Remember, this is not really Radiant's jungle at this stage. A risky move for Entity to be making, but Talon, they know something's up. Pucks don't just run at you like this if they're alone, but Q with the Blink Dagger now looking to turn Makoto to follow up with the Silence. Fishman is here with the Nightmare, but it's not going to be good enough. Stormstormer has overextended. That's likely going to be the death of Fishman, but it is KP who has been killed off in the meantime, as Pure and Toby will focus down onto him. That leaves Talon without a tool to deal with the Bristleback, so they'll have to leave, but at least happy with the kill into the puck.
Yeah, it's a pretty high priority value kill for them to be getting. They're getting this kill while Aegis is online too, so any successful fight or pickup you get that can stall out the Aegis timer is going to feel good on the Talon side. They're getting super close to this refresher on 23 Savage, so he's going to start to come online in a big way in these next couple of team fights. May run into some slight mana issues, but I think with the Falcon Blade, he should be all right. So I think these next fights, if this Aegis, you know, once it expires, could start to look a whole lot better for Talon.
For sure. And I just really want to highlight Talon's read on the map there, right? Tier 2 top is taken. Outpost is taken. You clear the mid wave. You see a puck runner. You know what's coming there. I mean, that's just great deduction there by Talon. Great game sense. They know what's coming, and they still manage to even get, you know, a pretty nice pick onto it. KP, it does delay his BKB, but that's online momentarily, as even double warded here. So Entity might end up taking a fight underneath one Talon ward. This one's pretty sneaky. It doesn't block the camp, not in a super obvious spot. The jump is onto Q regardless, though, courtesy of the puck. This time Stormstormer's learned his lesson, not overextending, jaunts back, and it's Kotomi who secures the kill with the Thunder God's Wrath.
So rotating in mid, this Aegis about to expire, but he's still got BKB, so he's not really in too much danger being a frontliner at this point still.
It's 23 Savage as well, slowing him. Has Refresher, though, has now shown it to Pure. Is that, do you think, going to be enough to maybe cast some doubts onto Pure's readiness to fight into this? With BKB, Ag, Scepter, and Vanguard, can he take a fight into double BKB Razor?
I think it's tricky. There's just so much physical damage and minus armor. You know, he hasn't got any armor items with this BKB Aghanim Scepter. He's only sitting on, what, 15 armor, which is, you know, it's something, but it's... Razor will quickly turn that 15 armor into, like, minus 30 armor with double ulti, static links. So you need to find a way to break those static links, ideally, or get away from this Razor when you pop
Pure
double BKB.
Does halfway interrupt the smoke gank, but it's going to be Toby who buys himself time using the Gravekeeper's Cloak active. They've got a grip as well onto Makoto. He's just dead. 23 Savage can do nothing to stop it. Hyde as well slept, couldn't get off the grave. Stormstormer's back onto Hyde while 23 Savage is trying to deal with Toby, who is now out of Gravekeeper's Cloak stacks and is out of life. 23 Savage looking for the TP away, barely gets out. The DD on Pure. Oh my god, he could not have waited an extra second there or he would have been toast.
Yeah. I think one more right click may have sealed the deal, so he gets out, but that's a terrible fight for Talon. They just lost 3 so fast. There was the double BKB Eye of the Storm Razor cleaning up some supports in a way. I mean, the Visage kind of feels like at least a support in a lot of ways right now, but you don't feel good if you're 23 Savage there. Like, you've already lost the fight. Yeah, you can run in with your BKBs, get a kill or two, but you're losing complete map control. You know, you're losing your mid and your off laner in that fight, and it just feels like things are kind of slipping away. They need to find a fight under their own vision where they're the ones getting a better jump. Yeah,
that was underneath an Entity ward at the end of the day. Just really great target priority by Pure, right? He breaks the smoke. He sees 2 enemy heroes on a map. He recognizes they don't need my help securing those 2 kills and immediately prevents more reinforcements from coming in. Not much more you could really realistically do against Razor at this stage. It's double BKB at 26 minutes, right? But he does the next best thing, which is clean up backlines. Really well done.
So For Entity, we'll see where they take things from here. Next Roshan, sometime in the next 30 seconds to 3.5 minutes. That's going to be the focus for both teams in some ways.
Uh-oh. That never feels good when you're going on a... Oh, well, he's got the blink out. Nicely done.
Okay.
I was afraid he was going to proc some quills there, perhaps. But no, instead, it's actually going to be 23 Savage, who procs the stun from the coil, forces the BKB and the Grave. Pure then immediately onto high, 2 shots him. He's got a Basher now, by the way. 23 Savage has got to get out of here. Makoto, not as lucky, finds himself bashed and killed off KP as well. Even with BKB, is not saved from Pure. Pure up to the high ground, needs one more right click, and will find it. 2 kills for him. They've dispatched as well of 23 Savage on the high ground, and there's going to be the full team wipe. Oh, all 5 alive for Entity. And they do it even before the Roche respawns. Tier 2 down, likely a lane, a barracks. Gods, what happened?
You know, Entity cast some spells and heroes just disappeared. Or in the case of Bristleback, he right-clicked some heroes. But again, it's not like Entity had crazy vision there, but it's once again another fight where Talon are the ones getting jumped on. Razor gets jumped by a coil. He survives through it. Gets his BKB off. The Grave was maybe unnecessary. I don't think he was actually going to die, but as a result, Dazzle Graves, he reveals his position. He doesn't have Grave. That's a free kill with the Bristleback 2-shotting him. It's just, for the most part, been positioning and vision where Entity are winning these fights.
Yeah, it was like you're saying, it was once he BKBs, once he Graves, they know he doesn't have Refresher yet. So he's just a very vulnerable target. It's all green lights ahead, Zeus ulti for vision, the Basher reveal. I mean, such a brutal fight. And oh my goodness, gods, when it goes that well, I think the worst part for Talon is that not only are they going to have to fight into this Bristle again, they know that the next item is only going to be like a fight away. And for now, it's Satanic for Pure.
Yeah. Basher just like makes these fights feel so sad too because of how reliant they are on the Razor to kind of carry them through these team fights. But now you've got a way to kind of get some additional lockdown through BKB. No more cheeky BKB TP outs as well.
Nope.
Here we go. 5-man spoke. They are worried about an early Roche respawn.
Pure though, he's actually completely alone here. Talon, they're not going to waste this opportunity. They're going to go right on in. BKB is ready, but the silences and the stuns perfect onto Pure. Down he goes, dead for 90 seconds, and gods, Roche is up.
Yep. And they do steal the outpost, so it means if he buys back, they can TP Bristle to this outpost. They definitely don't want to use your buyback on your carry at this point. You're hoping you can just stall it out and keep Talon out of the pit.
There it is. They're going to make the jump now. The coil onto 2, but KP, who's got the exorcism back up in 15 seconds, he's TPing out. Talon don't want this fight. The bash, is it going to be there? Oh, it's the grip. There's the grip. Down he goes. Q as well to follow. Storm are now on a killing spree. But Pure did buy back for this, so... And only 1 core down. But Stormstormer hunting for more.
I want to fight this.
Hyde is now... He's going to be able to TP out. Okay, well done.
Yeah, Raze is just farming down in the bottom lane. They're willing to give this one up. So many teams there, I feel like, would just try stall it out and not buy back their carry, but Entity just smelling blood in the water, think, okay, this is our moment. We're going to win this fight. There's, you know, they used everything to kill out Bristle once. It's not going to happen again, particularly if we fight around him. And now he's got an Aegis, so he can kind of alleviate that lack of buyback and almost certainly get another lane of racks.
For sure. Does also kind of put this Razor in a pickle, right? It feels like he really wants this AC online, more minus armor to amp his damage to try and cut through Pure, but he just has to save for buyback now. There's no other really alternative. I think it's a bit too risky for him and his team. KP, he does die there, but at least he doesn't use the XO. But my goodness, those racks did not last long at all, did they? Done already. Pure hitting tier 4 towers. There's going to be the drums. In they go now. Trying to end the game here. Pure, remember, has an Aegis, but no buyback. As Stormstormer with the coil catches Hyde. Good snowball save. Allows Hyde to at least get the self-grave off. He's going to make it back into the fountain to heal back up. Q, though, not as lucky. Taken down immediately by Pure as a result. Makoto doing what he can.
The base.
But he can barely move. And Toby is looking to try and end the game.
Yeah.
There's Drums of Endurance online as well. Still no AC. But Pure and Stormstorm are just making space now as Toby is going to put the birds now onto Makoto. Down he goes. Buyback number 1 out from Talon. Pure BK beat up. Still now is going to refocus onto the Ancient. Exposed less than half HP. It's falling fast. Talon struggling to get out of the base. Will not be able to leave the base as Entity will finish the game right here on this Aegis. They didn't want to go for the Megas. They busted the base wide open there. My goodness, what a finish.